and I'd hit it, and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" And as a kid, I'm like, dude, and there's a lot of things like in life that like it just always is something you remember.
Right.
And to me, I just remember that the day my dad decided to work with me was like the day I knew I was like, oh, like that's the only support I needed.
Like you almost feel like you just got recognized
There, and it was just like, because I was hiding it for so long to like not play golf that you always just want to like make your parents proud.
Right.
So my dad was sitting there and I kind of knew like, man, I know that this little thing we have going on is going to be something that he's going to be proud of me for the rest of my life. Like it's almost one of those moments I like, it's going to be me and his thing. So we ended up practicing for a couple of weeks. And like I said, my dad was an athlete. So he grew up in all these other different sports. And so his theory was, I mean, he grew up in the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all those guys era to where they just knew like, just work harder than the next person.
Right.
And he was a basketball player. So like, it was crazy. Like looking back at it now, like I practiced too much.
But people don't realize like, cause like I've been golfing for, I think I'm going on 13 years now. And I think Lee, you're pretty close to the same, right?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe. Yeah.
And like I didn't get what I would consider, I'm not good, but I could hit the ball in,
Yeah. See, now people like to talk, I don't really like to hear them. See these dudes snaking, that's why I don't get near them. This rapper's in my blood, I don't even need a serum. Hometown kids, so you hear the city cheering. Lately I've been going off, think I'm killing now, man, just wait till this my job. I'm trying to
have good shots, and like it's been cool like partnering up with Lee and doing this is we now golf together all the time, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, you hit a good shot, I got to hit a better shot.
Yeah, I mean, you are who you surround yourself with, and to me, it was crazy that I pretty much did that for like a whole year by myself, to where we would travel and play. But the first 2 weeks my dad worked with me, we went out and I won my first tournament.
Did you? Wow.
Went out. I was 6 years old, so I turned 6 while this happened, and went over to the Jordan River par 3. It's a par 3 course that used to be around, but it's right there in Rose Park, and we had a tournament there, and I beat Jordan Fowles. He took second, and Jordan was his last tournament as a 9-year-old, because then he turned or 10-year-old, then he turned 11. He was leaving, so it was crazy to like send him off. But in my head, it was just like
5-year difference, and I beat your ass.
And to me as a kid, it was really cool because my 6th birthday, it was or 7th. I was turning 7. It was the coolest birthday party in the world. We had it at the golf course. My brother Tony was a fire knife dancer. So he would come to the golf course to do a fire knife dance, and all my friends from school came, but then all my golfer friends came. So it was really cool to show my kids that I went to school with that like all my friends are old. I was like 10 years old, 9, 10 years old, and I was like, oh yeah, they're my friends. So it was really cool that, that was kind of the thing that like, oh dude, Gipper, these are your friends? Like, yeah, no big deal. They're all big and old kids, and they're all my good friends. But so yeah, I ended up doing that when I was 6 and winning, and we had a great thing going on. I ended up traveling around the world for a year and a half by myself with my dad.
Which is probably, one of the things, I mean, obviously you'll never forget it, but the fact that you had your dad that close.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and so I mean, we had a lot of kids in the house. So my dad didn't travel a lot with me at the beginning. So all the tournaments I did on the road was with my mom. So it was really cool that I was able to split time with my parents. And I always tell my siblings that, like, sorry, they got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, you got the best of both worlds.
I got both my parents. I got a lot of time with my mom and a lot of time with my dad, and it was awesome. But yeah, for us to do that, you needed the whole support of the family.
Right.
And so it was really cool to do that. And after I won when I was 6, I ended up being on the news, and that's kind of what took off my golf career.
That's cool.
I was on the news when I was 6 years old.
And food lovers, this episode is brought to you by Dolly Crepes. Are you ready to indulge in something deliciously unforgettable? Head on down to Dolly Crepes and indulge in a mouth-watering crepe any time of the day. Whether you're looking for something sweet and savory or deliciously filling, Dolly has exactly what you're looking for. With 3 locations conveniently close to everyone in the Salt Lake and Davis County area, Dolly has you covered.
I remember watching it. We don't have someone my auntie or uncle, someone has it, but we watched it like 10 or 15 years ago, and you would have thought that I was from Tono.
Really?
It looked like I didn't know how to speak English, and I was 6 years old. My siblings made they made fun of me from that video, and I mean I had to have been too nervous at 6 years old to even like open my mouth, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
So out of all the places you've traveled and all the golf courses you've played, like what's your favorite one outside of the state of Utah?
Oh, South Africa.
Really?
Yeah, Johannesburg. I
Right
played
on the coast?
Yeah, so we played. I played on the European tour. Did a great chunk of time there, and I did a huge chunk of time in the Asian tour. And in between, there was an event when I was on the European tour. They were like, "Hey, there's an event in South Africa that we're signing up," and I was like,
Gotta go.
"Gotta go." But it's crazy that even as much traveling as I've done, I was 22, 23 years old at the time, and even as much traveling as I did, I'm just like anyone else at the time. I was thinking this was like Africa.
Right.
I was like, oh, I'm going to go on a safari.
Right.
I want to see my first real life lion.
So is South Africa like that though?
No.
I was gonna say it's like I thought it was like really, and I hate to use this word,
No.
but like extremely colonized.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I was thinking like, bro, I'm like, I grew up with a lot of like kids from Africa that like in Rose Park, and I was like, bro, there's where all my homies are at. I get there was way more white people than there were black people. It was a little bit of a disappointment for me.
You're just like,
because in my head I was like, this is Africa.
you're like, am I in California?
But I mean, get there and we land. I go play, and man, it was till this day, and I tell everyone, it was my favorite place to be, just because the food was amazing, and that's a huge part,
Right.
in our culture and just who we are. So, and the food was amazing, and the people were nice, and I mean the golf was great. So, yeah, I mean outside of Utah, I mean I liked you there, but in the States, I spent a lot of time in California. My dad and them grew up there, and so like Northern Cal has a lot of great golf courses that I would go back and play a million times. So
Nice. What's your favorite Utah course?
gosh, man,
I mean, obviously
put me
Rose
on
Park is
the
the
spot.
I mean, obviously Rose Park's the home.
Yeah, no, to me, like I tell people all the time, I have two favorite golf courses in Utah. My favorite golf course of all time will always be Rose Park, just because when you've played so many places around the world, Rose Park, not only just because we grew up there, but it's some place that we've had so many emotional connection and ties to.
Right.
And to me, in this point of my life, it's saved my life. So when I come back, like I always feel like when I was playing professionally, I always feel like if I had any kind of like, oh, I'm not feeling too good, or my confidence level is down, I'd go back to Rose Park.
Yeah.
Because then I'd go and shred that golf course and almost feel like, oh,
Well, that's home.
maybe I know how to make a birdie again.
Right.
So it was a course that I always go back to a lot. So Rose Park.
Do they
just
make
for-
you pay there? Like they should let you play for free. I feel.
Man, no, they've been great. Like even when we're little, it's crazy to say that people always ask, "What's your guys' lowest score at Rose Park?" And we really didn't play Rose Park too much. We'd practice there for 8 hours because that was free. Now, what I loved about the pros there, they saw the dedication at the time. Richard Mason was the head pro. Steve Elliott was the head pro there. Derek, so like a lot of these guys that were the head pros there, they saw the dedication. So like they would yell at us when the last group would play, and so we would go behind them.
Oh.
But since the sun would go down, we were practicing because they already knew we were going to be there till the sun went down. So that was kind of our look forward to at the end of the day, is when the last group went, they'd yell and we'd go out. And if you guys know Rose Park, we'd always get to 1, 2, 3, and then we just walk to the parking lot. So 3 was always pretty much in the dark, but lucky it ended up right there. It was just right there. So, and Steve, Derek, all of them would tell, hey, if you guys are here, no one else here, just lock the gate. So we'd lock the gate probably more than a lot of the cart boys there.
That's cool.
And I always feel like my parents kind of forgot us there some days because we'd be there 2 or 3 hours in the dark. And I feel like that's where we learned how to play golf the best, because, I mean, we'd do our little chipping and putting games with me, Tony, and Ben till 10, 11 at night, which looking back at it now, we're like, man, we were the dumbasses. We could just walk home.
Yeah.
The cell phones were the thing, so we didn't know.
Right.
But we were too far up the street, but we already knew we weren't going home till we went home, because Dad was like, hey, you just stay there till someone gets you. So, but I feel like hitting in the dark was kind of one of the best things that ever happened to me as a kid, because ball striking just became amazing.
Well, it's awesome though. Like when you get playing, and some people don't realize this, but like from the ball you use to the club you use, when you hit it.
Yeah.
You could feel it. You can hear it, and you know exactly where it's going to go.
100%.
You know that, and to me that's always been like the greatest, you know, feeling golfing is like, especially, you know, you take like a par 5, you know, and you get up and you hit that drive and you hit it straight, and you know you knocked the shit out of that ball.
Oh yeah.
And it's right down the middle. You know, to me there's just like there's very few things in life that are, you know, amazing, but that feeling right there is like, oh, okay, like I just did something right.
Yeah, no, I think golf is one of the hardest sports out there just because it's never the same.
Right.
And your body's never going to be the same it was yesterday. Like a lot of players that were really good when they were younger, they don't play for a while. When they get older, that's not the same body, so it's not the same swing.
Look at Tiger.
Yeah, like you go through all these changes in your body that it really changes how you look at the game and how you play the game. So
that's I'd be interested to find, like, to watch or, you know, like follow the careers of, you know, let's say like a Bryson. Like right now, that dude can just, you know, crush the ball. What does that look like in 10 or 15 years though? You know?
Man, I have a great idea of it just because I got into instructing about 4 or 5 years ago, and I came out with a few products myself, and I just know that it's going to go down that line. Everything in life right now is going to always enhance and kind of reform faster just because of technology.
Right.
So, I mean, you're looking at every sport. I mean, these kids that I've seen now in basketball and football, they're doing these little drills that I didn't see until I was in high school. These kids are 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah.
Doing ladder drills.
Right.
And I'm like, do they
Bear
even know?
crawls.
Yeah. And then these kids are throwing us but because they can see it, like that's such a crazy thing now that you can scroll and see a lot of things. Like we were blinded. I feel like in the 90s, anywhere before the 90s, you didn't get to see that on a daily basis. You had it in your head.
Right.
Like to me, I had Tiger swing in my head since I was a little kid, and it's crazy to know that was probably the worst swings to look at. Tiger technically was not great.
No, but it's talent though.
But he put so much time and effort in it. But I'm like, that's the guy we all chased. And like as an instructor now, I'm like, we all kind of got screwed by watching that guy, and especially hearing now and talking to him about a few things and seeing how he does like a lot of these shots with his wrist. And I'm like, wow, no one should ever like hit the ball the way you hit it.
The thing that I realize with golf, you know, like to me, like I feel like I'm a student of the game. If I start doing something wrong or I can't hit a specific shot, I will immerse myself in the videos, which is probably the worst thing you could actually do. But I always feel like, you know, like I've seen videos where guys like, you know, they cup their wrists as they're coming down. Like I'm not flexible enough to do that. So that's not part of my game. So, you know.
Hey, the worst thing you can do is watch a YouTube video like right before you go play golf.
100%.
No,
Like
there's something worse than
That's
that. The worst thing you can do is watch it while you're playing golf. You have a chance before the round. You might go to the range and be like, actually, that seems good. When you're out there and you're screwed and you start going through videos.
But what's crazy though
Worse
is
feeling that.
like how many times, like, you know, on the golf course, you know, you hit a chip and it doesn't go where you want it to go. And you're just like, you know what, drop another ball, hit it, and it goes where it wants to go.
So I'm going to break down. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, you're good. But I'm just saying, like, you know, golf is so difficult in the little things you do to change it, how you hit a ball, you know, like, you know, everywhere from your grip, you know, like I'm sure as a, you know, golf instructor, you probably teach a lot of the stronger grip, right?
No. That's what I'm saying.
That was a thing forever.
That was a thing. Yeah, well, because it keeps the face square.
Right.
So it takes out your wrist. But so to me, the reason why I feel like I love getting to instructing, especially instructing kind of a lot of athletes these last 4 years, it's understanding this game is more mental than it is physical. But it's crazy how like people are trying to think more on the physicality side of things. And like you're saying, is like when you hit a bad chip, like to me, I changed, like, so with all the athletes I work with, I changed their whole philosophy, how they think of the shot. And I give them options and I give them more of just try to hit it in this area rather than trying to hit the perfect shot. Because if you're trying to hit the perfect shot, like you're going to be way more disappointed in your life than anything else. And you're going to be that guy that once you do hit it once, then it's like, that shot brought me back.
Right, but like even like on your approach shots, if you look at like the percentage of the pros that actually hit onto the green, it's so low.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I see like we have friends that we go golfing with, and then they don't hit that shot, and they freak out, they slam their clubs, they throw them, and it's like you're not even on that level. Like, what are you getting mad about?
It's the whole anticipation. That's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
To me, I changed the mentality of how you look at a golf shot. the reason why people get upset is because they expect themselves, especially athletes. I see it more with very talented, like athletic people, because they've been able to pick up things so fast. So like they're worrying more hard on themselves when they don't pick up something fast. And golf's just not that sport.
Right.
So instead of thinking like, oh, I got to hit a great shot, to me, it's working with them, understanding like just try to hit this general area. Because then when the ball goes there, then you're way more acceptable of, okay, that's a good place to be. And just like even breaking it down, if it's a back right pin, just hit it anywhere in the center of the green or left. Because even if you missed the green, it's an easy chip.
Yeah, because you got your
but if you miss it right of the flag, you're dead because the next chip's going to go all the way across the green.
Yep.
So there's just different ways to think about it and different ways to really say, okay, cool. And that's why a lot of pros, when they miss hit a shot, it goes by the flag because they weren't even aiming there. So to me, it's really trying to break it into the psychological part of things, because I understand that I feel like everyone, the reason why you watch videos is because you're trying to figure out the physicality of things. Where's my foot go? But that's actually messing up your psychological part of it, because your body, I mean, I saw a buddy of mine, he sent me a video and I thought it was a joke because he sent me a video and he goes, dude, I want to swing like this guy. And I was like, well, when are you going to get in shape? The guy you sent me was a very athletic guy, great swing, great setup. And this guy is just,
like, shut up.
This guy's just way overweight and fat. And I'm like, you want to swing like this guy? Like, I don't understand what you're looking at. But no, I mean, that to me, golf, everyone just kind of has to find their own swing. And that's kind of what I try pushing and implementing in every athlete I work with.
Something that I figured out, and it was, with the help of Lee, this just happened last year. And so, I mean, I'm 12 years into playing, but this is 12 years of bad golf. Like this is just going out with the boys and having a good time and whatever. But it wasn't until like last year where I got real serious about like, I want to try to be good, at least be decent enough where I can go play with other people and I'm fine. But I realized, like tempo is a huge thing. And then what you do in the first 6 inches of your backswing changes how you're going to hit the ball no matter what.
You have been studying.
I have. And so and then like routine too.
Yeah.
Your pre-hit routine.
Well, we grew up playing basketball. Our family's been a huge basketball family. And I mean, I look at it this way for when I work with a lot of people that's either play basketball or that's kind of their sport. Every shot is like a free throw.
Repetition over and
when
over.
When you're shooting a free throw, I've never seen a guy that's been playing that, you know what I'm saying? I've never seen a guy that's played basketball so long just walk up and throw the ball up every time. They had their dribble right, shake their shoulders. Like the best players in the world.
Remember how Karl Malone would talk to the ball and he'd always do the same thing.
And then even Jeff Hornacek, wipe it 3 or 4 times. Like, so,
yep.
And then so I mean, it's, to me as an athlete, that's probably the best way to look at every shot, because every shot you're hitting it at different times. So why do you think you're pretty much shooting a free throw, just walking up and throwing it?
So to this day, I still have like aiming issues. So to me, like when I play, it's super important for my pre-shot routine so that I know how to line up, where to hit it. You know what I mean?
People talk about golf is hard because you have all day to look at the ball and hit it.
Yeah.
But to me, that's the reason why golf is made to where you can start to line up and hit till you're ready. And that's when, like I said, you just go through, like you're saying, a routine and making sure everything's set. And that's the best way you have. But the problem is so many people have a great routine, but if it's under pressure, that kind of just goes out the window and they just go.
Well, it's funny now because like Lee and I will go play and like he'll hit his driver and let's say he's just off to the right in the rough just a little bit. I automatically know, like if it's let's say it's 200 out and it's in the long, that he's going to pull his hybrid out, hybrid 4, boom. Or if he's in the fairway, he's hitting a 7 wood. That's how like in tune we are with our own games. But what I love the most about golf is it not only. To me, I don't look at it as I'm playing against other people. I'm playing against myself, but at the same time, it's so fun just to get out.
Yeah.
And go play. Like, as far as like, it doesn't matter like what's going on in your life. Like, at least for me, like when I go out and play with my friends, that is the best thing in the entire world. And I wish I could do it every day.
Oh yeah. No, golf is definitely that sport. And I feel like that's why it's always been a great integrity game. Just because I feel like it really shows who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. No matter how much you try to fight it, a golf course will always bring it out of you, especially if you're playing it a long time and you come around a lot of the people that you play golf with every day. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of where when people talk about that on TV is like respect the game. To me, I feel like a lot of the new tours and stuff that they're creating and coming out with nowadays, it really doesn't hurt the sport because at the end of the day, there's two different tours that do it differently. But at the end of the day, you're still competing with yourself.
Right.
It's still the game of golf.
Do you feel though that LIV has hurt golf?
LIV. The Live Tour. No, not at all.
To me, I think it's enhanced it.
Well, to me, and this nothing to do with the PGA Tour. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like anything else. When you give someone a leg in business, they take it.
Right.
And you're always going to take that advantage. If you're working in business and you see things that work, you keep to it and you keep pushing at it.
Right.
So for the PGA Tour, they just had no one that's ever gone against them because they got ahead so far that who was ever going to go against the PGA Tour?
Well, yeah, I mean, they kind of wrote the book.
And
It
everyone
feels like all the guys that go to Live, even though they got the big paydays, it's like they disappeared though.
True, because
You don't see them
because
anymore.
the PGA Tour was that effective.
Right.
They didn't want to even show the Live Tour on TV. They held every single channel from them.
Yeah.
They wanted to make those guys disappear. And that's where I feel like PGA Tour had the power in the game of golf. And they're really scared of the tour because of the things they can do. And at the end of the day, that's all we know. But I don't think people even know this or remember this. But like the PGA Tour was at a spot to where they almost went under. And they had to kind of do a little showboating themselves to where there's a lot of better players back in the day. But they picked the big three. Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Arnold Palmer.
Right.
And they just televised those guys. And they showed those guys, and those guys would go out there and they would like showboat those guys and do these little like play on one and all these back in the day. So it was kind of like they needed to do a little bit of entertaining themselves to get the best players in the world because that's what TV saw. And they would only start videoing only time those guys were playing.
Right.
Only spend the money to when those guys were out there playing, and then they would tell those guys, we give you extra cash if you play in this event, bring the crowd. And so at the end of the day, you do have to grow it. But to me, I just felt like it's just the nature of business.
But I feel like you adapt and survive.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's the nature of business to understand it doesn't matter how well you do things and how well it's being ran. There's always going to be someone that's going to come up and compete.
What do you think about like the YouTube golfers? Have you worked with any of them?
Man, I've done a few.
you?
I've had a few people call me out and come and do a few of their shows and play. I think it's great. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think we all know that's been playing golf for multiple years that it doesn't matter how well you sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
We're all going to go out there and have a good time. So
Yeah.
anywhere that pushes our sport and promotes it and gets it out there and markets it, I'm all for it. Just because, like I said, if it pushes more people to go out there and play, then more people out there will understand how big of a heartache we go through.
You know Mo from Good?
Yeah, I know Mo really well. It's crazy that like 3 or 4 years ago, he was kind of starting his page. I went live with him on his page and was talking to him, and him and his brother Max were huge fans of my brother and I, and it was kind of one of a full circle moment to talk to him on live and him to tell me like, man, when we were younger, we'd always fight who was Tony and who was Gipper. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, oh, well, who was Gipper? He's like, he's the guy who won. I was like, you guys were accurate then. But it was cool to see Mo kind of thrive within. I mean, he blew up the last like 6-7 months,
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of doing his own thing and felt good.
He's always pushing Utah out there too, like he's always doing the Utah golf courses and
yeah, because he's from St. George, and it's funny. I had a foundation event down in Arizona, and him and his buddies won it.
Really?
So yeah, they won my
cool.
second foundation event. My first one was in Black Desert, and it was a great success that we had in 2023. And then last year, February, we had it in Arizona, and Mo put a content creator group together, and they won the thing. So
That's cool.
yeah, so it was really cool. Like I said,
he seems like a good dude too. Like
he is. I love that you're seeing YouTube give an opportunity to people that just have great personalities and they're just good people.
Well, I feel like, if you're entertaining, and entertaining could be many different levels. You have like your funny guys, or you have like your Grant Horvats who are like more technical. And then you have like your good guys, and like that whole arena is so like entertaining.
The Bob does sports.
Bob,
they're just like funny.
I love those guys. Like they're entertaining. Like like
Matt
him and I are
Perez.
big YouTube golfer fans. He loves the chicks.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
The GGG girls.
Yeah, but he's all about like, you know, Sabrina Gandolfo and, you know, I love Paige, but I think I like looking at Paige more than I watching her play. But, you know, I think that's most guys. But no, it's cool though, like, you know, to see golf blow up at, you know, as big as it is now. Has it moved to like the islands? Is it not as big there anymore? Like,
I mean,
yet?
no, not yet, but that's what I have working up right now with Utah Prep, and they're, you know, Utah Prep, we're an international prep school, a boarding school, and so that's kind of the idea and package and program we're putting together for the next 4 or 5 years is going out there to different countries and bringing them here to kind of develop that. It's crazy to see a lot of the European and even international kids around the world. As much as they're diverse in the game of golf, it's just facts are facts. The best of the ones, they all live here in the U.S. So you kind of have to come here and kind of harness your game to go out there and compete. You name all the top European guys on the Ryder Cup. It's crazy that week they're European for the Ryder Cup, but they're going to go straight home here to America.
Yeah, right.
And 90% of them are married to an American. So
they're all going to Jupiter, Florida.
You know,
Seems like where they all go.
So to me, it's awesome to have an opportunity to go to a lot of these countries, and that's what my foundation's about. We're about, you know, we're twofold: raise awareness for mental health and growing the game of golf.
So what is the name of your foundation?
The Gipper Finau Foundation.
Gipper. Okay.
Yep.
Because I watched a video earlier this week, and I want to say it was in 23, and it was a short little deal. It was, you know, you were talking, and you had, I think, your friend next to you.
Yep.
And just to see like the crowd that was there, like it's so cool.
Yeah, blew me away. We were so lucky to get everything passed by September in 23, and my buddy, we were just like, what do we do now? We thought it was going to take years to get this thing, but once it passed, we were like, oh shoot, what should we do? And we just decided to throw a tournament. Now, Black Desert, that was before the PGA Tournament event in 24. So went down there, and I was just like, well, if I could do a tournament, it would be at Black Desert. So we just went there and asked them, and they were like, December, if you want to do it, December 5th. And I'm like, bro, we're in.
Wow.
So it was really, they had a big part of that just because at that time it was kind of like a talk in the wind. No one even knew, but everyone kind of heard about it. You just heard noises about this beautiful golf course in the desert, or in the desert with all these lava rocks. And so we promoted it, and there was just a bunch of people that there's a waiting list, and they saw our tournament there. So we had a few people sign up just because it was like the day that I was there. And then most people that we knew were there, and then we show up, and it was probably one of the most craziest, proudest moments of myself again, that I was able to get to the event and just be like, wow, there's a full field.
That's cool.
We did this.
It's cool to watch it all come together, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was stressful as hell. That's why we didn't really push too much this last year, just because we were like, let's get settled.
Right. Let's
find our mission. And then we were able to do all that and focus and land Utah Prep. So
that's really cool. Do you guys have something set up for 25?
Yeah, so we're going to do, we're actually going to run a lot of these junior events this year, just because that's going to help kind of push and promote and get a lot of families and parents ready for their junior careers, or being able to we're going to have a lot of great tournaments that they could win to win a tuition at Utah Prep. So
that's cool. I mean,
which is huge.
If you guys ever need help, just give us a call.
No, I will, man. I appreciate it.
I mean, honestly, we're like Lee and I and the group of friends that we golf with, we are just all about it.
No, so I appreciate it.
If you need a helping hand, we're always here.
Thank you guys. No, it's been a wild ride, just because my brother and I turned pro in 2007, and I was 16 years old and still in high school.
That's crazy. And
then we decided to jump out there and, test the waters out. But that's kind of been our whole lifestyle of getting to this game, get out there and just try it. So,
Did you debate on going to college, playing golf in college?
Not even a bit.
No?
Not even?
No, I think the dynamics of that, just because it's crazy. We took a couple of trips for recruiting trips to UNLV, USC, UCLA. So people were kind of like, we're going to probably think about college. But just looking back at it now, my parents did everything for us to get to that point. And if there was ever a point that we were going to get paid to go pro, we had no NILs back in the day. We had too many kids in our house, too many people to feed. Parents gave up everything. So the moment that I went out and I was 16 and I became the youngest player to make the cut on the PGA Tour event, we had a lot of agents hit us up, a lot of Titleist, Callaway, a lot of companies hit us up to talk about some of the options. And when they saw that we were entertaining, that we could turn pro, because that's something that the U.S. is really big in college.
Right.
Like Europeans, you find your profession, you go at it. The earlier you can get into your profession, you do it.
Yeah,
if you have the skill set, you do
look
it.
at Luca, like he was playing against grown men when he was like
Europeans.
14.
Europeans do that.
Yeah.
Like but it pushes them to be better, because the lifestyle they have outside of the U.S. is tough.
Right.
So all these kids are built tough. They don't have a lot of shelter. So like for them, it's all or nothing.
Right.
But to them, it's all or just go back to your normal life.
But then what is an actual normal life?
Exactly, nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's why for them, it's, oh, well, what do I have to lose?
Right.
So they play more like with the style that they just know, like, I'm just going to be me, go out there and do the best I can. And my parents are, foreigners. So we had the same mentality of when we turned it, that when I turned pro, we had a couple agents come up to us, a couple companies. But then when we found out we can make some real money with it, then it was just more so like, yeah, if we didn't, then we probably would have tried to see. But my parents, they had the money for us to go to college. Even if we got a full scholarship,
yeah,
they would have just been hurting at home. So
I'm sure.
For us, the first moment and instant we could have turned pro, we did it.
So what's in your bag? What kind of clubs you hit?
Oh my gosh, bro. It is, I still have a lot of sets from a lot of different companies. And right now I just pretty much put anything in the bag that I see from the garage, which could be anything from a PXG set, Titleist. I have a lot of Titleist clubs in there, Callaway. And I mean, my gamers, my Titleist clubs. And I mixed in a little bit with a couple PXG clubs in there.
Team Titleist.
Yeah, I love it. To me, that's always kind of been my favorite brand since I was a kid. I mean, even as many clubs as I go around and change, the ball I always play is a Pro V.
So he's definitely a Titleist guy. I'm a Callaway guy. And when I, decided to buy like my first actual full set name brand, I could have picked any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the TaylorMade stuff. I haven't really hit the Titleist stuff, to be honest with you. But the biggest reason why I picked Callaway was Phil Mickelson. That, and at the time, you didn't see a whole lot of Callaway.
No.
And I was like, okay, I'm going this route.
I mean, to me, it's crazy that, to get back, if I were to get back out there and play competitively and get back into the realm of playing on the tour and getting down that line, honestly, it doesn't, like, I would go with any company right now.
Yeah. I think they're all great.
Well, the technology's there. And
Everybody's like even par, I feel like.
yeah, to me, those are the clubs in my garage. But if a company hit me up and was like, we'll send you a set, send it. I got all the specs to what clubs I like and how I like all my clubs, and I could send it to them, and they'll send me a set, because the machinery and everything is just that advanced now that they could make any of the clubs the way you want them.
It's insane. It's to the point where, like, if you're one of those people who chases the new every year, like, I mean, you could spend $5,000.
Oh,
easily.
100%. Oh,
That's crazy, you know, like.
No, and that's before taxes.
Yeah.
And tips.
Yeah. No, like for me, I'm a big Callaway guy. I hit like the Callaway Super Softs.
Callaway's great. I was with them for 3 years, my first 3 years on tour, and I'll never forget it. And I'll always be grateful, because Callaway was actually the company that, pushed us to sign or to turn pro.
Oh, okay.
They were the first company to believe in us. My brother and I, Tony, was actually on Callaway all the way up until he got to the tour.
Is he on Titleist now?
No, he's Ping.
Ping. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's
that's
Ping.
Right.
But he was with Nike. I mean, he's still Nike, but he was with Nike until they stopped making clubs. So when they did that switch and gave the players an option, he went to Ping. So, but for us, like, we'll always have a special place in heart for Callaway, just because it's, like I said, they came to our house. We talked to the guys there and all the tour reps and players at the time, that they believed in us to know that we're going to be something special, and it worked out.
What's your putter? What do you putt with?
Are you a Scotty Cameron? No?
Y'all going to laugh.
Let's hear it.
I got the same putter I had since I was in high school.
I thought you were going to say since you were 6. I was like, no way.
And I
Putter is like what you keep, though.
Well, I probably would have had the same putter too, but I just grew taller. Like like putter is something that's something I always have on my brothers. Like, I'm the best putter in the house. And they know that. I know that. We all know that. But to me, I've always had a free stroke, and I live and die with my putter. But it's the same putter that I broke the record when I was 16 years old, and I switched to it because my putter at the time was a Scotty Cameron, and it was too short. So by the time I got older, instead of getting it longer, we went out and Callaway was at the time. So I have an Odyssey white, one black.
Okay.
and it's pretty much their Scotty Cameron version of the Odyssey.
So it's like the Newport 2.
Yeah, but it'd be the 1 because it's the more rounded off head. So it'd be like the original 1, and Newport 2 became big because of Tiger. But I had the 1 because I liked it a little bit more round look to it, and the main reason why I still putt with it and I putted through my whole career is that was the first club they ever put my name on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So on the top of my putter it says GIP, GIP.
I like that.
They put that on, and I mean, like for us, it's we're very grateful for.
I know, like Jordan Spieth, he always goes back to his high school putter.
Well, even like Tiger,
Yeah.
we went through there, like, and then he went back to his putter again. Like it's something that's where even coaching.
I get a lot of confidence from.
Yeah.
You remember like all the great putts you hit, with that putter.
Well, that's what putting comes down to. I've actually started to know the statistics around putting and why a lot of players are good at putting and some people struggle. I've done a study. Athletic people are better putters because they can go back on feel. Because under pressure, that's what you go off of.
Right.
And putting, it's just a little tweaks here and there or whatever, but it's more so, it's not even the stroke. It's seeing the line and hitting the right line under pressure, and athletes just know how to do that.
Do you use the line on the ball, or do you just strictly go feel?
It's crazy. You talk to anyone I've played with in my past, I'm probably the fastest putter, and I never use the line. I just put it on the top of the Titleist.
Yeah.
Like you see the top of the and I just hit it.
That's cool. So
Do you see a line, or do you pick like a spot?
So I read a green it's crazy that I found this out when I was a kid. I think I had an eye for putting, and my brothers would call me lazy growing up because we'd practice all day, and then the time they'd have a chance to go play, I'd still be putting. They go hit balls, I'd be putting. And they were just like, "You're just too lazy to hit and chip." But at the time, I just loved putting.
But
like
you live and die on the
and
putting.
as a kid, I was just like, "Well, you guys do whatever you guys want. I'm gonna sit here and putt all day." And then we get to tournaments, and I mean, results just didn't lie.
Oh yeah.
My practice rhythm was going a lot better.
It's like how many times, especially for, guys like Lee and I, par 3, hit it, get it on the green, and you 3-putt it. I mean,
Yeah, people will take more time putting or more strokes putting than the whole hole.
right.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on putting? Because I know there's the stop and look, and then set up, and then, to kind of take your time.
Oh,
and then there's the guys that just walk up, see it, and then they hit it, and they don't think about it.
Well, y'all gonna have to start paying me for this one. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna take y'all to school, but
I'll pull out the checkbook.
I'm definitely gonna bill you guys after this.
Let's do it.
So to me, the easiest way to look at a putt is if you're on a green. What's the course you guys play the most?
We're all over.
I love Bonneville, Old Mill.
Okay, Bonneville, right? So on number 1, the par 5, that's still number 1 because it seemed like every city has switched their 90.
Yeah. It's still number 1.
Okay, the par 5, the straight shoot.
Yep.
Okay, so that hole, right? They got 2 tiers.
Yeah.
So if you're on the bottom tier, if you go to the top left of it, you're on the top of the hill, right? So everything's downhill.
Right.
So my philosophy on putting is you always go to the highest point, and it's different wherever the pin's at, because the pin can be on different sections.
Right.
So wherever the pin's at, you go to the highest section that floats to that pin, and you stand on top of that hill. And then once you're on that top of that hill, you turn the whole green into concrete. Where you pour water, wherever the water goes to, that's where the ball's going to go. When you go to that bottom spot to where all the water gathered, when you stand there, you look up, you can see every break in the green.
That's interesting.
like
Because
that.
you don't read a book up, down. You read a book down, up.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're reading a book, you're sitting it like this. So you stand on the bottom so you can see everything. Because once you stand on the bottom, the problem is wherever your ball is, people are looking from behind their ball and the flag, and they're just thinking, oh, I could see it. I could see it. If you go to the bottom, it doesn't matter what you see. Everything's going to gravitate to this.
Right.
And then you can start to calculate how this ball can go to where the top of that line draws straight down to the bottom. So you never look behind your ball. I mean, that is the whole philosophy. And I walk around and I coach with a lot of my athletes, and we've become instantly better putters, because at the end of the day, it's once they learn how to read a putt, then it's like, all right, cool. Now the second part is getting it to your line. But now you have a better chance, because a lot of people, especially playing a lot of public courses, everything looks flat
Right.
until you hit it. And then you're just like, how the heck did it break left? But then if you go to the bottom, you will literally see all the little hills. But then because you feel the gravity to you, so you're really feeling, oh, everything's aiming to me.
Right.
And if the ball, and you're lucky if it's right behind you and you're looking up, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a green light putt.
Lee, get that checkbook out.
I mean, I literally do walkaways when I'm on the straight up putt. but that comes down to course management as well. Like I was saying, is now that you've played a course so many times, you can almost tell where that line is to where now wherever that flag is, you almost start hitting it to that spot more than the flag.
Right.
Because I'd rather have a 30-footer straight up the hill, a straight putt, than a 10-footer slider on number one at Bonneville.
They're brutal.
Because if you're at Bonneville and those greens are running and you have a slider, that thing could run off the green.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then if you're on the bottom putting straight up, you could be aggressive and make the putt. So as you play a lot more, and that's what I'm saying is a lot of players and people that will go and play courses all the time, it's crazy how they don't even know the course they're playing. They don't even know what to look at.
It's to the point now, there's some courses, like, you know, one of my favorite ones is Ochre Hills out in Tooele.
Oh, man. Tooele got some hiddens.
They do. And, you know, what I love about that one is the front nine is so different than the back nine. But I could tell you on every single hole what club I'm going to hit, depending on where I hit wherever that first shot went.
Well, it's crazy that my philosophy that I have with putting, and it's crazy that Rose Park has the flat screens in the world.
They really do. They really do.
So to me, when I was thinking high and low points, I was getting good because I'd go straight from a tournament knowing how to read greens at Rose Park to going to Thanksgiving Point to where everything's a breaker, to where I know exactly where to hit them and be confident of like, sometimes I'm aiming 10 feet left of the hole because I know if I get it there, everything has to pull back down to the hole rather than some people rip it and it fall back down to the bottom of the green. And the more break you play, the more aggressive you can be. So if it's a straight downhill putt, play a lot of break because the break takes speed off of it. If you just try to tap it down the line, it picks up speed.
The ones I like are where you're sitting on top of the hill. You know it's a down, and you know, like, you know, if you hit towards it, it's going to just roll this way.
Oh, yeah.
So you just hit that. You just hit it a little sideways, and they'll watch it roll down. And like, I love those putts. Those are my favorites for sure.
Yeah. So I mean,
those putts.
to me, I've
I
lived
hate downhill putts. Like I'd rather be aggressive on an uphill putt for sure.
No, and well, the thing is too, that's where, you know, as you learn and get more confident in green reading, it's almost where even I wouldn't mind being downhill if it's straight down to the hole, like to that part, because then now you know, just touch it. Does it make sense?
Give it a little tap and let it roll down.
Well, because like if you're looking straight at, you know, the bottom is where all the water is going to funnel to.
Yeah.
It's the easiest putt in the world because now you just know, man, I just got to touch this thing. Like those are the best putts in the world because now it's just alignment. And to me, it's just because obviously all the pros, they all practice how to hit straight putts. So like that's why they don't mind if it's downhill and it's not a breaker. So, but like I said, if you know where the greens are, and that's why all these players do a lot of studies because now if they know where that spot is, they're not aiming at the flag. Because like I said, we would just like Lee, we would rather have a 30-footer straight up the hill straight putt than have a 10-footer slider.
Right.
Yep.
So to me, I would like, and I do that a lot, and that saves a lot of strokes for me when I'm playing golf because if I'm chipping and I hit it in a spot that I'm not supposed to be in, then I know chip it to that side. I don't care. I'd rather have a 30-footer coming back for par and trying to get close to the hole and then have a tougher putt to make it because then I know I can be confident and it can almost get your round going when you make a longer putt.
Yeah, for sure.
So at the end of the day, you got.
Who do you feel is like the greatest pressure putter of all time?
Tiger, to me, like I said, technically was the worst. People always talk about great, but I'm like, all his shots came from out of the trees.
Yeah, he was
all his hero shots came from shots that you're just like, why'd you get there in the first place?
Yeah.
You remember when he like started introducing the flop?
Oh,
my gosh.
The way he would swing that, I think we all broke a few windows trying to attempt those in places.
To this day, I'm like, I could do it once out of every like 50 shots.
Yeah, well, to me, the reason why I say Tiger is because you don't dominate 12 years as a number one from anything else besides being the best putter out there. Like if Tiger actually hit fairways, it would have been crazy the number of tournaments he would have won by strokes.
Right.
But to me, like you look at the number one right now, Scotty Scheffler. He's the most boring great golfer in the world.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He hits everything down the middle.
Yeah.
He doesn't miss much. And to be honest, if he had a putter like Tiger, that's what I'm saying is you would have seen the opposite. If Tiger would have hit the ball like Scheffler, he would win tournaments by 30 strokes. If Scheffler could putt like Tiger like he did right there, it would be bad.
I don't know why this is, and I've told Lee this a million times. My favorite thing about Scotty Scheffler is when he misses a putt.
Oh,
Like I find that shit.
well, to me, he didn't start winning until he went to a mallet putter.
Right.
Like to me, like I'm saying, like a lot of these players grew up with such feel that they do get over technical on things, and that's where my brother kind of went a little bit down that road for a few years on tour. That same thing, best ball striker out there. He'd miss putts here and there, until where when he called me to come work with him, it was crazy that it was nothing to do technically. He was more so like, let's just go and do putting contests, and he wanted to get the feel back. And then that's when I worked with him through COVID. We just did a lot of putting things. I went on tournaments with him and worked with him, and then he went on a stretch of winning tournaments. But then when I started seeing him putt, he went back to a traditional putter, he went back to a traditional grip, and he was just putting. Because he was doing so many funky things with his grip. He had mallet putters, holding it, crossing it.
Holding it like this.
Yeah, and then they put his hands to cross-handed. And to me, it made sense, because he was just trying to get a better roll. But like I said, at the end of the day, it was a decision that was needed to be made, as saying, like, let's stop being top 10 Tony and stop making every cut. And let's just miss a few cuts here and there, but win a few tournaments. And that's something that you got to hang your head on. And that's going to come through some weeks. It's just your day with the putter.
Right.
Some weeks it isn't, when he was just holding on to this consistency. But like I said, he did his toll for 2 or 3 years on tour to know, like, I belong here. Now it's time to take that risk. Time and place to do everything, and he took the time and the right time, and, the risk at the right time to make it all worth it to win a lot of the events that he's had.
It goes back to just golf is the little adjustments here.
Little things.
And
it all starts with your perspective of it. I think that's where, like you guys were saying, is I don't think you guys will see a golf course differently now. But to me, it's just like that. Like, people will play it, but they will not change their perspective of their game or their round or their circle, because then it's always like they're playing against something else. But when you dig into the technicalities of the littlest things, your game just improves.
The biggest thing I've taken from Tiger is when he says, like, golf's a game of misses. Like, you got to know, like, where you can miss.
Well, that's where Tiger was the best at. Like I said, he understood he was never going to hit it straight. So, like, when you go down a lot of the films, and even talking to a lot of coaches that worked with him when I was on tour, Tiger knew he wasn't going to hit it straight, and he almost came to sense with it. So he started finding out, okay, cool, let's course match better. If I'm going to miss it in my head, so he would look at a hole this way, he would look at it and be like, oh, all right, obviously dream shot middle. But if I'm not, and I know down on the downswing, I'm not going to hit it here, where's my miss? And if he knew that the left side was wide open, he would hook it. But if he knew the whole right side was wide open, he would slice it mid-swing. If he knew it wasn't going to go down the middle, and he would block it to where it would go 3 fairways right, but he knew, okay, I have a better angle.
Right.
Because on tour, if you barely miss the fairway, you're screwed.
Right.
Barely missing the fairway.
Because they're
really narrow, and then like on the outside of the fairways is the thickest rough and all the trees, because the pedestrians don't step on that. So inside the ropes, all those roughs are thick. If you hit it outside the ropes, pedestrians been walking on that all week, especially Tiger.
Right.
So there are a million people watching Tiger, so like those things are trampled down. There's a better lie out there, so he knows if I miss it. But that was how he thought,
But his recovery shots were just amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it wasn't the place to be like, oh, you have an open shot. He just knew, like, Tiger was so good that he used his hands to do crazy shots. So he just knew, if you give me a full swing, there is a great chance I can pull the shot off. That was all his theory. The only thing that would hold him back is if he had a tree behind him or a bush behind him. But you give him a full swing, this dude he was the best artist ever to shape things around anything to get shots anywhere you need to get them.
That's what is hard as, at least for me going out, you hit a shot, and, lately I've been able to draw it. Can't tell you how I do it. 100% can't tell you how I do it. But then, like mid round, I'll start hitting the fade. Can't tell you how I do it. It's just these little, and
well, to me, like, just to break everything down in a golf swing, your golf game comes down to 3 things. If you're missing a shot, it's these 3 things. Like, yeah, man, I'm a Venmo, y'all. It comes down to these 3 things, right? It's either your grip, your setup, or your swing path. And that's how simple you should ever keep golf. If you miss-hit a shot, tinker around with your grip. That's what you're saying. Like, oh, you could twitch this way, that way. Like, that's the stuff that you would mess around with your grip. And if it's not your grip, you feel like that's great, then the next one, mess around with your setup. So where maybe your feet are this way, like you're saying, alignment.
Right.
And if it isn't that, 90% of the time, it's your swing path. So because your swing path is something that, so golf, the best golfers in the world, they swing their golf swing like a pendulum. Now, it doesn't matter how your swing is, but if you match your backswing and your downswing, look at all the best players in the world. Their backswing and their downswing, they match. They work on a pendulum.
We have that whole arc.
The problem is some people, when you get nervous or if you're getting tired, like you're saying, I started with the draw. You may start with a lot of energy to where you're swinging the ball.
Right.
And then as you get tired, and now you're swinging the ball.
Right.
To where your hands are like not coming up or as much or as fast. So you just got to see like your swing path changed. The beginning when you're hyped, it's going up. And then at the end, you're getting tired, your hands are going down. So your swing path changes, so it changes the arc.
So I played, what's the little country club out in Sandy? There's
Hidden Valley?
Hidden Valley. So I was lucky enough to go with some friends, played Hidden Valley, played 30 holes.
Yeah, they got that 27. That's nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were just playing till the sun went down.
I love that kind of club.
And I remember distinctively, we played the first round and then we started on the second one. And I remember hitting the drive and it started to, I started to fade and almost, slice. And my buddy Matt's like, "What did you do wrong there?" I'm like, "Too much arms." I mean, you could feel it now. Like,
yep.
And that's what's cool is like when the more you play, the more you get in tune with your body.
Who do you think has the best golf swing?
Technically, or
Yeah, just like if you were gonna show somebody what a golf swing's supposed to look like who would you show?
George Knudsen.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone knows him, but
No.
so honestly, this was the era that golf wasn't paying. He won a few tournaments on the tour, and then he quit because it wasn't paying the bills, and he went to instructing. But he was around the Jack Nicklaus era. If you look it up on YouTube, George Knudsen, best golf swing ever.
Okay.
To me, I know people are going to talk about. If you talk to a lot of great players, they'll say Ben Hogan. They'll talk about he had the greatest swing. But to me, and this may be something that hopefully it'll leak out to the world so they can stop talking about this debate with Ben Hogan. But like Ben Hogan had a great swing, and technically it's great, but he had both his thumbs were double jointed, so his thumbs can go back. Both his thumbs can go all the way back.
Oh, wow.
So his backswing, he could bend that hand to his thumbs, could bend that club and give him that lag, and then force it down to the ball. So like he had that extra pull, and he went from hitting the biggest hooks when he was younger to a cut. So obviously it may not make sense to you guys, but he went from never winning a tournament because he would hook everything to when he went to a cut, it helped, but he would hold that lag, but his thumbs could reach. So when you watch, they always talk about he has the perfect swing, and I'm like, yeah, if we were all freaks like that, sure. But us normal people would break our thumb trying to get to that position, and they have. They had players try to get to that. But to me, if you watch George Knudsen, the reason why I say George Knudsen is because I just feel like his philosophy of how golfing was balance, and I feel like everyone would learn a lot if you watched him because he wasn't about the perfect angles or anything. It was also about matching, and I feel like that's the perfect golf swing. But if you're saying right now on tour, that's a tough one.
It's hard to beat.
Mine is Rory. Like I get in
me-
trouble trying to copy Rory.
No, to me, I would, Rory's a good buddy of mine, and, I grew up playing golf with him since I was 6 years old, and Rory would be probably one of the best, but if you hear any great talk about Rory, they would say one thing. The reason why he's great is because he does a lot of things technically great, but he has the most balanced and controlled swing that has that power. So it comes down to balance, and the reason why it's tough to say Rory is because I like to give someone that like they can learn and really develop their own golf swing in, because that's what it comes down to, because there's not going to be too many people that swing like Rory.
I tell you this, don't sell yourself short, because I watched a lot of your videos this week, and I was like, oh my God, Gipper can hit the ball.
Balance. To me, I've worked a lot with effortless power, and I feel like that's something that people always tagged us and named us growing up was, man, you guys hit the ball far.
Yeah.
One, obviously, we grew up in Rose Park.
Fred Couples, too, like the older guys. I always like Fred Couples' swing.
Oh, bro, there ain't no cooler cat than Fred Couples. Like, to me, but if you look up George Knudsen, bro, George Knudsen's an athletic
I'm gonna
Freddie
look him
Couples.
up.
I want to look it up too, because I always want that. Like, I always compare it to me swing wise.
Yeah.
And I know this is not golf, but like the Ken Griffey swing.
Oh,
that effortless, just beautiful. Like, to me, I always try to, like, that's the ideal. That's how I want to hit the ball.
Yeah, no, and to me, it's crazy because growing up, my favorite golf swing that I always idolized was Tiger 2000.
Yeah.
2000 Tiger was just like something that, as I was growing up, I was just like, one day, it was that 2000 Tiger.
So you would hit down on with your driver like Tiger?
Oh yeah, to me, I think that's what people really know me as a lot is I probably hit the ball off the deck better than anyone. And to me, it's because they're like, why? And I'm like, well, my swing has always been pretty balanced, but that's a shot I always grew up hitting. And it's funny too that in some tournaments when I was younger, I ran out of tees. So I just naturally had to learn how to do it.
Off the deck, yeah.
You tee up on par threes?
No, I've always been I mean, I know people will talk about give it the perfect lie, but I've always been such a great ball striker that I had like with irons, I love feeling the ball. Like when I hit down on the divot, so like a tee always just gave it too much of a kind of like a swipe.
Right. I don't ever use tees on par 3.
Yeah,
I
mean,
love hitting off the ground.
It's preferable, but like on tour, I do use tees just because that their tee boxes are so thin.
Oh, I bet.
So like I put it down and I do push it all the way down, but at least I know it's sitting on tee because there's some lies on some of the tour courses, man. It's too mint.
What's the biggest difference from like public courses and like the tour courses? I know like the greens are like super firm and fast.
I mean, yeah, money.
Yeah.
But no. The modification, because obviously they just use different machines to make. I mean, it almost feels like Augusta, like the Masters. A lot of places you can hype up like movies. You can hype up in your head. You get there, it disappoints you. Like, you can't hype up Augusta more than anything in the world that won't like let you down. You get there, and it really is that pure.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it is. It's
That's on my bucket list.
It's the money. It's the money they put in there. They got tunnels underneath that funnel that gets the circulation. So if it rains, it drains well. And then there's the grass. They have a group they pay that takes care of each hole individually. A whole maintenance group that takes care of one hole, 1 to 18. And it's their job. They just sit there and put the flowers in or put whatever it may be.
Yeah.
A whole company takes care of one hole.
That's awesome.
That's nuts.
There are only a handful of people to play there the year because obviously that's a course that like it doesn't even matter if you're somebody, you're not even getting
like
on there.
Painting. It just looks.
It is.
It's crazy.
It is. I have pictures from it when Tony first played it, and it still looks in high definition to this day, as if I AI.
How about when Tony on that par 3, the par 3 tournament, and he
it's so
got
funny.
the hole in one, and he ran down and dislocated his ankle.
It's so funny because he just made a hole in one on tour, I think yesterday, and it's the comments. I mean,
He didn't run,
internet.
right?
The internet never loses.
No.
Internet's
They
all
probably always
undefeated.
bring that clip up.
Oh
too.
my gosh! So yesterday they did it, and I mean it's great. Like he made a hole in one to make the cut, and awesome to watch. But
That's
just
like the Martin.
just the writing on there. Everyone's just like, don't run, don't go backwards. But the funny story about that is, so I was at that because that was his first Masters,
Yeah.
and he hits a shot. I'm at the green, and I had 2 beers in my hand. So like, and there's like, so when you go to the Masters, you have either a green cup or a clear cup. Green cup is beer, clear cup is soda. I had 2 green cups, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and Tony's playing, and I'm just enjoying myself. He hits it, it lands on the green, it backspins, and it goes in the hole, right? Obviously, I lose my beer because I'm sitting there. All the guys around me, they're just dumping beer because everyone's getting just like hyped, and I'm over there, I'm jumping. I like lift under the rope to run towards him. Because I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm like, you ain't stopping me. Yeah. Like, they know I'm his brother. I'm about to run over there and do the biggest, I don't care what we do, jump up or whatever, right? So I lift up the rope. As I'm lifting up the rope to walk towards him, I see him fall.
Oh.
I put the rope back down. I get back there, and I'm like in my head, I was just like, wow, that's embarrassing. Like, at the time, like, you should think of it in fast motion. We all know now, but in fast motion, I'm like, oh, bro, come on, 2 left feet. Like, whoa, I thought you was an athlete. No, but I look up there, like, oh no. So I put it back down. I'm like, stand there, and I'm like, everyone's just like, oh no, like everyone was still jumping up and down, but in my head, I was just like, bro, whoa, right? Because then by the time I look up, he's already walking down the fairway, but he's limping. So in my head, I'm like, what an idiot. So. But to me at the time, I didn't think anything was wrong because he finished that round.
And that's an athlete.
And to me, he gets up and he's laughing, and I saw him on the tee box, and I'm like, and Tony goes, like, he gave me a look. He was just like, and I was like, yeah, raw, embarrassing. So anyways, he finishes.
Popped it back in place.
So he popped it back in place. He finishes, and we jump on the medical cart together, and we start driving. And I'm like, bro, you all right? And he's like, no, bro, something hurts. And I was like, oh, bro. And he's like, dude, did it look bad? I'm like, bro, it was bad. And Tony was like, sheesh, bro, whatever. And he's like, man, he's like, I can't believe I did that. And I was like, that's all right. Great shot, though. Trying to play it off. And then he drives over to the medical field, and he gets off. He walks into the scores to kind of get checked up. Ricky Fowler comes up to me, and he, like, grabs me on the shoulder, and he's like, Kip, sorry, bro. My best to you guys. And I'm like, well, yeah, sure, bro, whatever. I'm like, whatever. And then Stuart Appleby, he comes over. He's like, Gip, man, I never met you before, but man, so sorry, bro. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I think it was like, what? And then Spieth walks up, And he's like, hey, give Tone the best, give Tone the best. And I'm like, what's going on here, right? And I'm like, dude, you can't be. And then Ricky goes, did you see? And I'm like, see what? And he goes, oh, bro, because you're not allowed to have phones there.
Yeah,
So I didn't have my phone, so I didn't have all these people texting me or whatever. Like I didn't have that. So I was like, well, what are you talking? So Ricky pulls out his phone and he shows me the replay because they're showing it on ESPN or whatever, like on YouTube, whatever. He shows me, and I'm like, bro, I was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? So obviously I'm like, oh no. So I book it. I run in to talk to Tony, and Tony was like, dude, how bad is it? And I'm like, oh, not bad. I was like, it's bad, bro. And Tony was like, should I watch it? I'm like, I wouldn't.
You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember that kicker for Tampa Bay?
Oh man,
He tears his ACL.
sheesh.
Hey, but what's crazy though is like he played good though in the match.
No, so the thing is, it's crazy that that night he goes home. Obviously, they take him to the hospital.
Miyagi thing.
No, so yeah, they took him to the hospital, and this is. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only two ways to go about this incident on tour. Either you're gonna let that define you, or you're gonna make that like, okay, like I'm gonna become like I'm gonna show people that who I am.
Right.
You know, and to me, obviously, we grow up playing a lot of sports. We've played so many. I can't even tell you how, because growing up a basketball house, we sprain ankles all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like roll ankles, sprain them. So like we've played in so many tournaments, national tournaments that we've won growing up on a sprained ankle. So like that's all happening, and Tony goes to the hospital, and the only thing I just remember Tony asking the doctor, where he just says, "Hey, can I hurt it anymore if I walk on it or play on it?" The doctor goes, "No, but it's gonna hurt like hell." When he said that, I looked at Tony. Tony's like, "We're playing, bro." It's his first Masters, and the doc's like, "I mean, we can give you as much, meds as we can to keep you the pain off, but no, it wouldn't hurt, like it won't hurt you. You can't really like break it or anything, but man, you popped it right back in cleanly, but it'll hurt like hell." And I'm telling you, it's gonna be excruciating pain. So to me, though, it's like everything went mute after he said, "Yeah," like
Yeah, he's like,
we
oh,
didn't
it's
care.
done deal.
Right. He knew.
And
he
it was
playing.
Tony's first Masters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like to be there and but every day he'd go, he just went to the course, and as soon as he got done, no practice, went home, put his leg up, iced it, we'd watch TV and watch movies. So like it was crazy, but yeah, he actually had the lead after the second day.
Yeah. I remember he was playing good.
Like it was crazy. Like to me, like the way he was playing, but at the end of the day, like I loved that it happened as a brother, because like to me, Tony and Ben know each other more than anyone. So like I remember talking to my brother Ben, and Ben and I were just like, man, that almost needed to happen for us, because Tony was kind of barely into the tour, and he has the talent, he has the skills, but can he toughen it out? Can he play through it or whatever? And to me, like Ben and I already knew, like, I don't think these people know how tough we are.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see us, because people were like, "Do you think Tony's going to finish? It'll probably just be a win if he makes the cut." And I almost, like, if I was a betting man, I would have lost my life that week, because I had some kind of crazy feeling like my brother's going to win this damn thing. Because
That's crazy.
well, because Tony's that kid. Tony won the state am with pneumonia.
Damn. Really?
Yeah, at 16.
Wow.
Tony played the state am. He beat Daniel Summerhays. He almost didn't play that tournament. The day before he was supposed to tee off the next day, he was in the hospital. They told him he had pneumonia. And then the next day he gets out. The doc's like, "Dude, I don't know how you're going to walk." And you have to walk. Tony goes and wins the state am that week. Awesome. So to me, but Tony's tough. Tony's a tough dude. So
right.
we talk about it all the time. To me, I knew it too. When I saw him hitting balls in the morning, I'm like, it's going to be a mind over matter week. So to me, I'm like, I don't think people understand who this guy is.
He's got it.
So to me, he, when he had the lead on the second day, that's when I would have put all my chips in, because I already knew like it's going to be a week.
Yeah.
So ended up taking the top 10, his first Masters with that. Obviously, he took like 4 or 5 months off after that, but but to power through that, that's something that I know he'll always hang on. But for me, I think the world need to really understand who Tony was.
A lot on his character,
Yeah.
It showed everybody.
And now, he's only heightened that through 7, 8 years later, and to make a hole in yesterday, it's still gonna be something that's there. But I'm glad it's not the person who he is.
So what do you have coming up?
So I actually talking about content creator, one of the kids I work with, Lucky Cruz, and he definitely, it's a kid you got to keep your eye on. He won the Steph Curry tournament, and he's an amazing golfer, amazing family, an amazing kid. He's only 17 years old, and kind of same story here. He turned pro. He just had a lot of cards put against him, and college just kind of didn't kind of fit his family and his team, and I don't think he got a proper shot for a lot of the chances that he could have had coming out of Texas.
Right.
And so his family turned pro. So I'm playing in a tournament April 30th in Arizona at Grass Clippings. Grass Clippings is like this par 3. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't.
It's the Grass Clippings league. They have it's like under the lights in Arizona at night, all par 3 golf course.
Utah had night golf, man.
I know. It's something that I feel like Vegas hasn't. It's huge. I think it's great, and I think it'll grow the game.
Yeah.
Having somewhere you can go play at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
I would rather go do that than go to like Topgolf.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, nothing against Topgolf.
No, but to me, Topgolf is for the people that are trying to get into golf.
Yeah.
If you're into golf, you almost don't enjoy Topgolf.
No.
Right, no.
Because you just know, like, oh, man, I want to get out there and, like, play golf, put some rounds together.
It always turns into, like, you know, if we have, like, a friend that, you know, let's go to Topgolf, we're like, okay, cool. And it always turns into, like, the long drive competition. Like,
Yeah.
who could hit the ball over the damn net? It's not really technical, you know.
I've gotten kicked out every time I've gone Topgolf.
You're like, you know who
Well,
I am?
it's because it's the waiter, too.
Yeah.
They come to me and they're like, Mr. Finau, can you hit it over the fence? They asked me that for like 2 hours straight. No, I'm good. No, can you hit over the fence? Then I hit over the fence, and then they're like, hey, time to go home.
Like they set you up.
No, but it never fails. But yeah,
They're like, hey, you got to go.
they're like, you're not supposed to hit over the fence. Bro, you just asked me.
You're like, I asked you if you could, not if you
But
would.
yeah, so the Grass Clipping League is a huge event that they're doing in Arizona now. And a lot of content creators are going there and putting teams together and kind of playing a fun golf. So I'm playing with Lucky. He asked me to play with him because it's like a team, two man against a lot of those other top pros. So I'm playing in that in July 30th. And then I'm actually playing in the U.S. Open qualifier here at Alpine.
Nice.
Because it's just down the street. We're down in Pleasant Grove. So I just feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I think every golfer, we all know, it doesn't matter where you are in golf, whatever. Like you're never not gonna compete.
Yeah.
The competition. I mean, I've played in the highest stakes in the world growing up, and all the tours and traveling around. So like anytime I can get back in the fire, I'm gonna do it. So the fact that they put it at Alpine, I'm gonna do the U.S. Open qualifier. I think it's May 4th, and then yeah, we just have a few other events coming up this year.
We'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, we're all in the same boat. Golf is gonna kick our ass till we die.
That's right. That's right.
Golf's my happy place, though. That's like, I need it.
Oh, to me, it's I found out when I was younger, but it's something that it's such a self-confident thing to always go out there and play golf and hit a few shots every day and really show yourself that you can do hard things.
Lee goes out there and crushes 240 balls.
I'm with it. I mean, golf is muscle memory, and that's kind of the whole theory that I do and coach. And you know, I don't coach publicly anymore, but so I just do a lot of my private clients that I work with. But it's really giving all of them the fundamentals, and that's what I told you guys today. Is we work on your grip, your setup, and your swing path. Swing path's the hardest, and so I created a device that pretty much cures that, and then we go to work on the other two.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, my checkbook's open, man. If you can cure, I'm
bro. I'm telling you guys right now. I'm not trying to pride myself or get ahead of myself, but what I've learned the last 4 years, because I've always felt like we've done something special in the game of golf with just where we came from and what we've been able to do with it. But what I've been doing the last 4 years started when I got into coaching was I had to start studying.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I didn't really need to study because it was my game. So I didn't why would I study the little things that I feel like I did right or I've learned from practicing? But then as I started getting to instructing, I found out I actually have to start teaching the fundamentals to people that basic, simple things. So I started learning where the grip was and that's what I'm saying is George Knudsen's whole theory that I learned a few years ago of working towards it. Cause he was one of the guys I idolized growing up swinging the club. And then I worked that into a whole kind of package that I coach with. And I mean, I've turned in, I worked with these three guys and it was kind of my testers the first year I worked with them. And I trials and errors throughout the first 6 months. But then as I got down to the program, all three of them became scratch in 6 months.
Wow.
That's awesome.
The first one was like a 12 handicapper. One was an 18 handicapper. And the other one, he was pretty close to scratch. He was like 4. But it was like crazy that once they were able to learn how to ball strike it, the game just came a lot easier to where now just learning where to hit it, that's what taught them how to score. Now it's tough for people to course manage. We don't even know where the ball's going.
Right.
Right.
You're just trying to hit the best shot because in your head you're just like, well, that's what I'm trying to do. If I think about it, I might go near it. If not, then we just figure out when we hit it.
Yep.
So it's really cool to teach them how to hit a golf ball, because then once they can do that consistently, then it's like, all right, let me do what I've been always good at, is let me teach you how to get around a golf course. And my main thing that I've always been great at is short game. So like chipping and putting, something that people always talked about our distance, but then when people that know us growing up, they'll always tell everyone, man, these guys had the best hands around the greens.
Yeah.
And it's because Rose Park, we didn't get to hit drivers. We had to chip and putt for 8 hours until we could play 3 holes.
Right.
Right.
So we really got good with the wedges, and it's crazy. I have a couple of wedges when I was younger. They're all like, it looks like a putter in the middle of my wedge.
Yeah.
It's all flat.
Flat.
Yeah.
Wore it out.
Nice. Lee, you got anything else?
Yeah, well, we got the Masters coming up, and of course we're all cheering for your brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, outside your brother, who do you think's the favorite to win? Like who you picking?
Oh
We're all picking Tony, but like outside of Tony.
man, this is gonna be a long shot outside into the fire, but I think this is Bryson's week.
Dion?
Bryson, okay.
Yeah, he that golf course you have to be long. And one of the things that I know he's probably, I mean, he's not the best at, is that hurts him is his wedges.
Yeah.
He's not really that great with his wedges, but man, that kid can putt. So he puts two and two together, and he's a scientist, man. He's a thinker.
He is.
And that golf course, I mean, knowing that and knowing Bryson and talking to him throughout the years when he was on tour, and I was there when he won New York, he won the U.S. Open during COVID.
Yeah.
And watching him play, we did a lot of practice rounds with him that week, and talking to him, he's just the type of guy that I wouldn't be shocked if he's watched every single, because now you can go to YouTube and watch every shot of the past winner
Right.
in every round.
Yeah.
So to me, having access to all that technology, guys like Bryson take advantage of that to where he'll know that whole golf course, where to go and what putts goes where. And to me, my wild horse would probably be Bryson, but front runner, if you were a betting man, I mean, I don't see how you put Rory out of the picture.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, to me, I think if I had to put money on anyone that's gonna bring it home, and I mean, like I said, I've grown up playing golf with him, and one major he hasn't won, and he's been on a heater these last couple, and he hasn't won in 7-8 years of major. So I know he's itching, and he's had the taste of victory this year. So like technically, I think he has a great chance. It's gonna come down to the luck of the draw for his tee time and coming out hot out of the gate. But Bryson, I just feel like he could be a wild horse, because that boy hits the ball far.
Yes, he does.
And
I
if
like
you can put a lower club into your hand at Augusta, you can fire at more pins. Bryson's going to be coming into a lot of par 5s with 8 irons, when most of the tour is going to be coming in with 5 iron hybrid.
Yep.
See the difference you can hit with an 8 iron at the flag than a hybrid.
Yep.
So to me, he's going to have an advantage on 3, 2, like all the par 5s that go down, like, because he hits the ball that far. So to me, I would put him up there too, just because I don't think he gets enough credit for how well he puts the ball. It's unorthodox. He stands straight flat, but man, that ball doesn't roll anywhere but straight. And on those greens, those pure greens, that's all you need to do is get it on a line. It's going in.
Right.
So, but yeah, those are my 3 picks, obviously. And to me, like I said, first person I was going with Tone. To me, right now, him coming off a really good high of making that hole-in-one yesterday, and like I said, all of us golfers know you just need to find that one swing.
It's just the one shot.
Some swings, when you hit it, it may last you 6-7 months. That same swing thought,
Right.
Yep.
We all know that. So to me, it could be anyone's game, but for Tony to come off of a great way to get into the weekend, there's a lot of confidence rolling with him, to where I know that the Masters has always been his best major he's competed in throughout the years. So
Like he's always
up there.
10, yeah.
So to me, like I said, for him to, the only way to erase that memory at Augusta is to win it.
Right.
Well, good deal. Where can they follow you?
So Instagram, everything I have for Instagram, Twitter, just wherever you want to find out. Snapchat, it's simple. It's just my name, Gipper Finau, Gipper Finau. That's it. No handles underneath. No tags. No slashes. No dashes. It's just Gipper Finau.
Gipper Finau. I like it.
So yeah, I got a lot of fun things coming up, and excited for you guys having me here. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you for coming, man.
Honestly, it's when you agreed to come on, it it was a special
Thanks,
thing.
man.
Yeah.
So I in fact,
appreciate it.
We could probably talk golf for like 5 hours.
Golf could be. I mean, it's a sport that you have to play for 6 hours. So there's a lot to talk about.
Right. Yeah.
If you're just getting into that realm, it can take forever just because it's that sport. But
right.
love it.
Well, great. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
We'll get this up as quick as possible and go to town, start tagging you, and
Thank you.
So again, thank you.
Awesome.
Lee, anything else you want to add?
Just thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate you, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, sounds good. We'll see you guys out there.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, I get it.